Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, NerdModon, and welcome to episode 12 of Battle Reports, a video series where I'll be going over a particular weapon in Battlefield 4 and breaking down the statistics of the weapon to provide you guys with a better idea of how the weapon is going to perform. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, of course, we're going to be taking a look at the M249. Now, this weapon does have an 800 rounds per minute, which does make it the fastest rounds per minute out of all of the LMGs in its category. Now, alongside that information, you have the velocity clocking in at 620 meters a second, which is actually very high in comparison to a lot of the LMGs, but it also ties with many of them as well. Now, transferring your guys' eyes over to the damage model, you'll notice that this weapon does a maximum damage of 25 damage up until 8 meters, and then of course after 8 meters you're going to see a gradual decline of the overall damage being outputted at range. However, once you hit around 65 meters, you're going to see that the minimum damage of this weapon is listed as 18, which is actually pretty comparable to the assault rifles when it comes down to their overall damage model. Now, of course, taking a look at the magazine size as well as the reload speed, this will give us an idea of how the weapon is going to perform, especially in engagements that require you to either be up in front of the opposition or even at bay, depending on which kind of playstyle you choose to go along with. Now, this specific weapon does have a reload speed clocking in at 6.2 seconds, may that be for the short reload or the long reload, so there's really no reason for you to be reloading this weapon, especially if you have a large amount of ammunition still left within the box mag. However, this weapon does come equipped with 200 rounds and the one box mag ready to go. You do have multiple of these, of course, on standby, but that's definitely a lot of ammunition if you're going to be doing some suppressing or killing some players at those close to medium range engagements. And finally, taking a look at the overall recoil numbers, this will give us the information when it comes down to firing the weapon. Of course, many of you guys probably have aspirations of suppressing or killing many players on the battlefield, so this information is going to be very potent every time you pull the trigger. Now, of course, starting off with the horizontal side of things, this weapon does have a 0.45 left pull as well as a 0.3 right pull, so it's going to be tending a little bit more to the left side. As well as taking a look at the vertical side of things, you'll notice that this weapon is going to be kicking vertically at 0.325. So one of the easiest ways to compensate for this overall recoil pattern is to pull down and to the left. That's going to make it a lot more centered in your screen, as well as it's going to become a little bit easier for you to control, especially if you're going to be peppering the trigger at medium to long range. So when it comes down to it, I would say that the M249 is a very good weapon, especially at close to medium range. Especially with that 800 rounds per minute, it's going to allow you to chew through multiple people, especially at those ranges. Anything outside of medium range is going to become a little bit difficult, considering that the weapon only has a 0.3 aiming downside accuracy, which in turn is really going to affect your overall accuracy past medium range. But by and large, if you're definitely peppering the trigger and you're trying to compensate for the overall recoil pattern, you should be pretty competent, especially when it comes down to it. Just realize this weapon is not an assault rifle and it's not going to have the statistics to back it up. Now, one of the hidden benefits that the LMG category has over other classes in Battlefield 4 is it allows you to suppress the opposition at a greater degree. Now, of course, in comparison to assault rifles and carbines, this is going to be suppressing the opposition at a greater interval. Now, this can be very beneficial if you're somebody that likes to use the bipod and maybe just sit back and shoot at the wall or so forth, and trying to keep the opposition at cover, because a lot of the times many players will not find themselves wanting to get out of cover until the suppression is decreased, or in many cases they know that they're safe to get out of cover. So that is definitely one benefit you're going to want to use to your advantage, and in many cases you're going to find that the kills just kind of rack in, considering that you have the ability to destroy cover, especially in Battlefield 4, and in many cases it's definitely very good, especially with an LMG that has a fairly good damage model when it comes down to it. But anyway, guys, this has been this episode of Battle Reports. Of course, if you guys would like to recommend a weapon for next week, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I do take your submissions as priority one, so you guys have a good chance of getting your weapon featured in the next episode. But until then, guys, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out, guys. Peace.